Yo, what's going on, guys? It's NBL967 here, and I'm back at it with another video. And in today's video, I'm actually going to be talking about the NBA 2K20 Community Day, and I'm going to try gathering all the information possible. And it's mainly going to be from all the YouTubers that were there, people like iPodKingCarter, Sub, The Gamer, JuiceMan, Annoying, and all of them. So I'm going to just get straight into it, and I'm going to start off with iPodKingCarter. And right away he says, dribbling combos are done on a 1x1 movement. Hezzies and escapes will be a big factor in dribbling as well. And for me personally, it's not going to be really that much of a big deal because I use a center for my career, mainly because whenever I play Park and Rec Center, my other two people that I play with are always guards. So you kind of need a big to win, of course. But for the dribble heads and dribble gods, you're going to need probably a big YouTuber to do a tutorial on how to do exactly this move or that move, because you have to do it one by one rather than doing all the set combos and all the other animations that 2K already has for you. He also says earlier in the day, so we are testing the NBA 2K20 My Player Builder today. I can't say much except if you want to test what a 99 overall build will feel like, you can for free. And I will kind of get into more of this a little bit later as I keep talking about more and more about what this specifically means, because other YouTubers and other people that were at the community today also touched on this. And iPodKingCarter didn't really even tweet much about all the information that kind of either people were asking or was kind of necessary to kind of know, you know? And then next I have JuiceMan, or at JuiceMan 3 times, and I'm going to just say this straight up. I'm going to be talking for a while just from JuiceMan's information alone, because he dropped a lot of juicy information, pun intended. So, to add on to iPodKingCarter's point, he does say you can test your player at every overall before confirming him. I don't know how they plan on doing it, but apparently you could check how he's going to feel like at an 87 overall, 91, 96, and even if you want, like iPodKingCarter said earlier, even a 99 overall, which is honestly pretty dope and surprising also at the same time from 2K standpoint, because I mean in a business standpoint as well, because they're losing out on money, I guess, because people aren't buying VC to max their player out to 85 overall off the jump and see how that player plays out, or even before that player has their badges. But it's great from like a community standpoint and for the fans in general, because then we don't have to waste time and complain saying, oh, this game only just wants our money and whatnot and stuff like that, because they're actually letting us know if that build is actually worth spending money on that player. And on to the next point. He says fake greener is going to get killed now because you can see your teammates and your opponent's green releases, including the computer and the actual players that you're playing against, which is gonna, like I said, it's gonna attack every single one of you people that actually say green and it's like a full bar, because that's just gonna mess everything up, because we're gonna see the bar. I don't know if you're gonna see the full whites as well or the entire bar, but from what I've heard, you're gonna see the shot meter regardless, which I personally am not a fan of, but it sounds like greens you will be able to see. So if you call out green and it's full white, you're gonna get killed from your teammates, or the opposing team is gonna be ready for that rebound, just because full bars aren't guaranteed to make. Next point, he says, bro, my player avoided contact with the defender after breaking his ankles. I like that a lot, and I honestly love the sound of that, because at first in the start of this year's game 2K19, I set off with the sharpshooting playmaker, and anytime I would break somebody's ankles, elite defender, an average defender, or a poor defender, I would end up like trying to go towards that way I could go off dribble or at least get ready for my mid range, and the ball just bounces off his legs because my defender's on the floor or they're in the way, which I truly hated. That sounds like it's a big upgrade, because it was a little bit unrealistic. Like when Harden drops someone, he's just not gonna go forward and just dribble it on them. That just doesn't make any sense at all. The next thing he says is, I'm playing with my point guard build and got switched on LeBron, and yeah, he's seen that mismatch and he bodied me, LMAO. And this is just straight up logic. If LeBron is being guarded by Stephen Curry, if he's being guarded by Isaiah Thomas, of course you're going to attack the mismatch. This should happen every time, especially because LeBron is, of course, going to be like, if you're a point guard, he's bound to be like 50 plus pounds heavier than you are, or muscular, whichever adjective you want to use. Next, he says archetypes all have new names because your players are more dynamic. Some examples are, from what I've seen from the rookies when they got to play 2K20 even before the community day people, is Tyler Hero is an example. They call him a 3-level scorer. John Wall is considered a 2-way slashing playmaker, which makes sense because that's exactly what he is. He's obviously not the greatest jump shooter, and he's never really in the post, so that makes sense for him. And then I believe Draymond said 2-way rebounding playmaker, but it was very blurry, so that was my guess for it. And then Carson Edwards was considered a deep range shot creator, which just sounds like another way of saying a sharpshooting shot creator. So I don't know exactly if that's what it is, but it basically sounds like that's what it is. And then next he says, you can select your takeover off the rip since your player can do more this year. And also there's a new takeover in the game. Somebody else mentioned this as well, that there's a new takeover. And it sounds like it's OP, but they really couldn't describe it. So I don't really know how to really dive into that part. But another point he makes is that ISO gods are really going to be godly in 2K20. So all those people that are dribble heads, all you slashers, or just shot creators, this sounds like 2K20 is going to be for you again, because this year, like most years, ISO players are very good. The next thing he says is, bro, nah, locks are OP. You can see people's success shot rate from the spots they're standing at. Like, they don't even need the ball. You can just see if they're good from that spot or not. LOL. Which sounds legit, because like lockdown defenders, they'll know if you can actually realistically guard them in that place, because they're always, in terms of real life, people like Tony Allen, Kobe, and players like that, they're going to watch film 24/7 to see where your hot spots are and where your cold spots are. That way they know in certain positions if they could actually leave you open or not. Because if it's someone like PJ Tucker, even though he's not an amazing player by any means necessary in terms of like all around talent, if you leave him open in the corner, he's bound to at least hit it 3 times out of 4 that you leave him open. But if it's like the top of the key, he might not be as good from there. The next thing that he says is, the ISO game is so much better. Blow-bys make sense. Like, you break down your defender and run past them. You kind of push them out the way. Not like how LeBron be cheesing, LOL. Just pushing his arm out the way since he's now beside you, not in front of you. Which also makes sense, because if you're already ahead of your defender, you can actually like just put your hand out in a not offensive foul type way, like he said that LeBron kind of does be doing in real life. So let's just hope that in terms of the quick first step badge, it doesn't kill you, because that quick first step could end up making you go from at least being there and being ready to try cutting him off to actually him just completely blowing by you. And the next thing he says is, you can do park dribbling animations a lot easier. There's even a button for it, which sounds great for the playmakers as well, because whenever, or even if you're playing just blacktop, or if you play the 3v3 mode in my team, because sometimes you would trigger them, and me personally, I don't know how you get them triggered. I don't even know the way that you could get them triggered. I would just try spamming anything, and sometimes it would pop up, sometimes it doesn't. But the next thing he says is actually in response to PG Craig's tweet, where PG Craig says, you can choose your own takeover apparently. You can be a shot creator with sharpshooter takeover. But JuiceMan says, nah, your attributes have to fit for a certain takeover to be an option, but you can select which one's primary ASAP. So if you have the proper attributes of like a shooter, a slasher, and a playmaker, it'll probably tell you which one you can actually decide from for you to actually have as a takeover. And now I'm gonna move on to Annoying. That's his actual name, if you guys aren't aware. His Twitter handle is MarioHTXX. I'll have it somewhere in one of the corners. And he says, you basically get to choose your own takeover, as I previously stated. I can be a shot creator with a sharp grand badge. I don't know if he meant to say takeover with that, but if not, then that means that grand badge, like from 2K17, is back. And a lot of people aren't really a big fan of the grand badge because it was kind of really OP. But the next thing he says is, Mike's mad at me because I'm taking an hour on my build. You have like 4 stages to go through, which sounds like my career, or you're my player in general, is going to be very deep in terms of how you want to make your player because of all the attributes, all the badges, and everything, like the wingspan, of course, your height, weight. It sounds like it's going to be more in-depth in the way that you could actually create the player that you want rather than just a role player where you're just a primary playmaker. That could easily be someone just like an Avery Johnson type player. No one really wants to make an Avery Johnson. We want to be like a John Stockton, Magic Johnson, you know? And then the next thing he also says is, LMAO, the new takeover is OD Cheese. And like JuiceMan said, there's a new takeover. I'm not sure what it could be, what it might be, but they're both making it seem like it's going to be last year's version, aka 2K19's version of the post scoring takeover, where the moment you activated it, you go in the post, you're getting an automatic bucket. It could be a pure rim, pure lock, anything. He could be as tall as Manupo. You're going to shove him out the way and you're going to just get your dunk, get your animation, or whatever. Next, he also says, but no, you can't pick a pure rim with the sharp shooting takeover. It does not work like that, which I'm honestly thankful for, because the thing that I was imagining was a pure lockdown defender being able to get a pure sharp takeover, which just would not make any sense at all. And then he says you get to choose your own badges you want on your player. It doesn't pick it for you like previous years. More to it, more to the uniqueness in the builds, which I alluded to earlier, that you got to pick whatever badges you want and how your attributes end up stacking up and how they kind of form to the player that you actually want, rather than, as I said, you won't be able to just have an Avery Johnson. You get to have maybe a Russell Westbrook, John Wall, or De'Aaron Fox. And then he says, guards, anything after 6'5" is disgusting, which I don't know if that's a positive or a negative, because that sounds like it could lead to something very cheesy if a point guard is like 6'7", 6'6". I know they cap it off eventually at like 6'6" or 6'7", but regardless, if they're a little bit cheesier after that, after 6'5", that might be a bit of a problem. The next person that I got some information from, not from a DM of course, I'm just what I'm seeing from what they're tweeting, is from NickTheBullsFan, and he says, there's a new badge called Quick Draw. It speeds up the release of a jump shot. Steph Curry has it on Hall of Fame. And this is great for the pure sharps, but at the same time, I don't know how I feel about like the pure stretches, either the stretch bigs or the stretch 4, because Dirk is not shooting fast. The only big man that really shoots fast is Kristaps Porzingis, and that's like once in a lifetime. Like, that's the most rare example I could honestly give you that's a big man that could shoot fast. So I don't know if it makes sense if they even are allowed to get that, but I'm assuming they could, just because obviously they would be a sharpshooter. But that's just, it could be a problem, but at the same time, I just really hope that they know how to tune it down and all that stuff. And he also says tons of new badges for dribbling, such as handles for days that Mike Wang has talked about, unpluckable, and I'm gonna assume that means that it's a little bit harder to get a steal if they have that badge, tight handles, stop and go, and many others. So again, this is more for the dribble gods, dribble heads, and any playmakers, because like the handles for days, that one helps your stamina for you being able to spam the right stick all day. Unpluckable, that sounds like it's a little bit harder for you to actually get a steal on a playmaker, or at least somebody that's primary playmaker. I don't know exactly how the archetype system's working, because technically it's gone. And then tight handles, that probably means that you dribble lower. That way, like with unpluggable, it's also a little bit harder to get a steal because you're dribbling it lower. And then stop and go, that sounds like it's might connect to quick first step, where you're able to stop on a dime and then just boom. And then next he says, for shooters there's a new badge called flexible release, which reduces the penalty suffered from a mistimed jump shot release. A badge called green machine, another one called steady shooter. And next I have is I'm Davis. And he is very similar to iPodKingCarter. He kind of kept things short, didn't really tweet much. So the only two things I got from him is that, one, the guards are significantly faster than centers in one-on-one matchups, which is just basic common sense. If it's De'Aaron Fox against Boban, he should be able to get by with ease. Or even if it's someone like Derrick Rose now going against Rudy Gobert, he should still be able to get past him with ease. Then he also says dribbling got a complete revamp, kind of like what was said earlier by iPodKingCarter, that the combos are done in a one-by-one movement rather than stringing together all of the combos and whatnot. So that's all I really got from Davis. And then from Durag Duke, he says that blow-bys are a problem, ... Me and Davis played one-on-one. I had Harden and he had Curry. Let's just say it was very 18-ish. And the only thing I kind of have to say about that is that, of course, it's going to feel very bad in terms of the blow-bys, and it's going to feel like 2K18 because, one, Harden doesn't play defense, and two, Curry doesn't really have good defense either, regardless of effort. So that was kind of a bad example. I feel like to get a better feel for blow-bys, it would have been like LeBron and Kawhi, because that kind of makes more sense. Even though LeBron doesn't play defense much in real life now, 2K at least likes to give him those juiced ratings, and it would make more sense on there. One of the last few points that I'm going to let you guys know about is that he says he made a 7-foot stretch big with Hall of Fame catch and shoot, Hall of Fame range extender, aka limitless range, and he was able to make a fadeaway 3 from deep, and he was also able to put quick first step on his stretch. And regardless of adding that badge on, his player was still very slow. And I don't know if it's just a demo or the build that they were letting them use. If that's the only reason why that they were able to have Hall of Fame limitless range, aka now range extender. But if it's like legit that a pure stretch 4 or a pure stretch 5 could actually have limitless range, I don't really like the sound of that on Hall of Fame. And same thing for catch and shoot, because I think this year it was only a gold, just that way it's not so cheesy. I just hope that they just at least address that if that is the issue. And then the last thing he says, as a stretch big, once you go past 6'10", you can only choose sharp takeover or post takeover. But I'm guessing this is in terms of the abilities and the badges that you decide to have as primary and the strongest that suits you. Because what if you have everything like athletic or rim protecting? It would make more sense that you could be able to get those two. But that's it that I have for you guys right now. There's still more information coming out, and they're gonna drop their own videos and their own opinions on everything that they were able to see and play. But they only had 4 hours each for group 1 and group 2, so they didn't really exactly get to play in depth as they probably normally would if it was obviously not within the time limit and having to go in separate groups. So yeah, you guys just let me know if you guys like the video. Of course, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share it if you guys enjoyed it, and let other people know about all this news. I'm sure other YouTubers have talked about it as well, but I'm letting you guys know all in one big bunch. That's why this video is so long. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, and don't forget, I'll be trying to drop at least 2 videos a week if I can, but otherwise, see you in the next video.